Well, we normally murder these things. That wasn't so good what just happened tonight with the Rising Stars Challenge, but we'll hit one of these plus 500-600s tomorrow in the skills competition. We'll get it back, but I'm not overly ecstatic about the way things went. 4-1 for the Carolina Hurricanes, and that one bothers me too, Cam. I didn't take it. I was going to take it. I was going to put the Carolina Hurricanes in a Vancouver Canuck to win a division parlay. And I've been stockpiling these over the last, 48 hours. Since we've been talking these futures, I knew, man, the minus 200 was a stupid number for the Canucks. And last night they racked up another 2 points, and they were still minus 200. It's moved to minus 300 right now to win the division. So we got in on the Vermont Catamounts to win last night and the Vancouver Canucks to win the division. We got that at minus 130. I swung for the fences with Team Pow to win the tournament. With the Canucks. That's a loser. But I've got one in here that is another one. Montreal and Toronto. Under. And the Vancouver Canucks to win a division. Alternate under 6.5. Canucks to win a division. Minus 142. So I'm stockpiling some of these Canucks to win a division. Let's bring in Joe Madden right now. Joe, Vancouver Canucks have a league best 80 points. And they were minus 200 only to win a division all week. Now, you could say, well, minus 200, not good odds. Yeah, we should know. They had a 17-point lead on the Edmonton Oilers. They have a 12-point lead on the Vegas Golden Knights. It would take an epic collapse and choke job for them not to win. I think it's great parlay material. At minus 200, I thought it was a good bet. It was obviously a better bet like before the season started, but where we're at now. But then we got a big game tomorrow night with the Canucks and the Winnipeg Jets. Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's unbelievable to see how much this line has actually moved because before the All-Star break, they're minus 125 to take the division. As soon as they got Elias Lindholm, it went to minus 140. So it's crazy. It's now minus 300. I didn't realize that the odds had moved that much. So I'm doing good. I got them at minus 125. It was only 2 weeks ago that they were at that price, but I definitely think it's a parlay piece. You put it in at minus 200, they're taking it, Gabe. I can't see them falling apart here and not making it down the stretch.
So right now, guys, in the NHL game, we talk about this. And Vancouver, they lose in overtime. They get a point. They have to lose so many games in regulation, and other teams need to do well. So it's nuts. Good bet.
It is hard. When you get a point for losing in overtime, it's extremely difficult to gain ground on teams in the NHL. Shout out to everyone joining us on Sirius XM channel 159. But there's a very short price tomorrow night. So it's at 10 o'clock Eastern time. Winnipeg Jets visit Vancouver. Vancouver easily disposed of the Red Wings last night. Canucks, Joe, are only minus 125 favorites in this game. I get it. Winnipeg are good. But we're talking about the best team in the league in Vancouver, but they don't really get priced like it. So you sort of get value with the Canucks. The total is an even 6. I expected it to be 6. It is 6. Who do you like in this game tomorrow?
I'm riding with the Vancouver Canucks. I think they can come out and get it done on home ice. We look at the Winnipeg Jets, and you just can't trust them. As of late on the road, they've been struggling on the road. They haven't won a road game in their last 4. And
you can't trust any team named the Jets, Joe. Winnipeg Jets, New York Jets, Shibu Jets of the Japanese basketball league. Those are the 3 Jets in the world, Cam. You can't trust any of them.
No. And I know what the thing is, Joe and Gable, Winnipeg, they're not scoring. They're getting great goaltending. So I would kind of look at the total in this game, Gabe. Vancouver, as you know, can play a contrasting style.
I lean to the under for this game. I'm going to the game, too, so I'm concerned about betting the total, but I lean the under. You know why, Cam? Because I think this game plays like a playoff game. This is a serious matchup. It's Winnipeg, it's Vancouver, 2 Canadian West Coast teams. They don't like each other. It's they know they can meet each other in the playoffs. Vancouver also knows they got the red-hot Oilers on their ass, the Vegas Golden Knights. It's just intense. Yet 6 isn't a lot.
I know,
what I mean? Getting to 7 is a problem.
The problem with the Jets is they don't score.
Demko's on fire.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Jets' offense has gone AWOL. Anything can happen in the NHL, but I'm surprised they didn't post a 5.5, guys. 6, I'd still probably take my chances with the under.
I would even take it at 5.5. I think this is a 3-2 finish to this game. We could even see this one going to OT. We know we're going to get like plus 360, plus 380 for this one to go to overtime. And these teams are going to play it so tight tomorrow. Gabe, you said it. This is going to be playoff intensity in this battle. I can't see this one going over that total unless one of these goalies comes out and completely falls apart in that first period. But I don't see it. We got Connor Hellebuck and Demko. These two goalies are going to have elite nights, and these defenses are absolutely going to stand out. We know what the Winnipeg Jets were able to do before they went on this kind of losing streak, really limiting opponents' ability to get those goals, holding them below 2. So this one, 3-2 style game. OT, I think, is the winner.
Just what you need, Gabe. OT for your heart. You go to the game and it's time. Here we go. That's the last thing you need.
Game.
I'm thinking 4-2 is going to be a push. 4-2 Vancouver. They score with an empty netter. They're up 3-2, and then they
less stress.
See that.
Should be a fun atmosphere. I haven't been to a game yet this year, so I'm looking forward to it. So the first game up tomorrow, 12:37 Eastern time in the afternoon/morning, the Boston Bruins and the LA Kings. So the Bruins are minus 150 home favorites against the Kings. Don't worry, Canada. You'll get it on TV. You get every damn Bruin game.
Oh, yeah.
So
Bruin game
Jack Edwards.
I watch them play the Kraken.
God, that guy talks slow.
Oh, dude. I told you, he gets drunker as the game goes on.
Pavlov
First period,
takes it across the blue line.
I know, it's like,
hurry, speak up, bro. Like, hurry up.
I know, Jack Edwards. This guy, I don't know what he's got under the desk. Multiple flasks. But I'll tell you, Boston's got problems, man. They lose to the Kraken 3-1. Gabe, I'm taking
That's the
Kings.
other division price that swung, Cam. Remember the other night we said the Panthers kind of value at plus 145. It's minus 110 now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
These futures have ramifications. They change. That's why I talked about it. Like knowing before the Canucks played last night, I was like, man, we got to do this before. Like they change, Joe, after each game. They adjust. Right? That's why I was surprised. They were a little slow to adjust with the Canucks. They left it up for a day or two. They finally did. They were quick with the Panthers adjustment. I don't trust the Kings in this spot. The total is 5.5. So you guys both are taking the Kings here?
I am.
Yeah, I'm all over the Kings. I think you look at recent form, and I know the Boston Bruins need to get back on track, but they've lost their last 3. And this Kings team, I think, is playing strong enough to be able to pull off the win. They're also going to want revenge for the last time Boston beat them already this season. I think the best bet, though, is the under in this game. I like the under 1.5 in the first period and the under 5.5 for the game.
I don't like the Boston Bruins, but I'll tell you one thing. Nobody's ever gotten rich betting against the Boston Bruins over the last 10 years. I'll tell you that.
Nope. Yeah, well, just lose on Saturday, Boston.
Edmonton and Dallas. Edmonton, minus 105. Dallas are favorites on home ice. Dallas are also smoking hot. I think the Dallas Stars beat them. The total is 6.5. What's your pick there, Joe?
I'm taking the over for the team total of the Edmonton Oilers, the over 3.5. I don't have a line out on it yet, as long as you're not laying too much juice. I think this is a high-scoring battle out there. It looks like Pickard is in for Oilers.
This is Sports Rage.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where these Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Cam. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management.
Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, gave BC's finest.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
It is a big I told you so if Mac Jones comes back and Mayo keeps him and the Patriots don't draft a quarterback at number 3. But the fan base is a big problem. I mean, you bring back
fan base will be fine if they win.
There's the if. There's the if. If they win, fan base won't care if you're quarterback in the Patriots if they win.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Caravan came back. They did have a couple of transfers here. The reality is UConn is every bit as talented and dangerous as they were 1 year ago.
If there's a guy, Joe Ranieri, that for one game could take a bunch of cast-offs and steal a game, his name's Eric Spoelstra.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas, maybe in the future, to get Luka Doncic?
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage
this
late
sort
night.
of has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Man, I got curling highlights in front of me going on. It's the Scotties Tournament of Hearts champions. See if I can get any odds in on this. I don't mind betting on curling, actually. When the Olympics, I bet on curling during the Olympics. Yet curling is like bowling. Like there's not enough betting on it. Like they should. Although bowling is, I've been telling the PBA for years that they should be more open to betting. And sports books, like think about it, like people would like to bet on bowling, right? You bet on splits. Is he going to get is he going to strike it over under? 290 whatever. So many options you can go, and the sports books are open to it. But the problem is a lot of bowling events are on tape delay, right? They'll record it and then they put it on TV later that night or whatever. They'll record, you know what I mean? They'll have it at the weekend at the alley and it'll air on Tuesday night or something. They've got to get more live. But I spoke to a big sports book director about it, and I told him I had a couple of drinks, so I was just yelling at him, telling him what he should do. You should do this. You should do that. Like, how come you don't have bowling? I was like, damn, yeah, one by one. I was like, you should have player props for the Arena League football. I was like, just as I was just like a stream of conscience. I was just like, I was just telling him, you should have this. And how come you don't have bowling? I said, there should be bowling. You guys want to make money? Get bowling. Put bowling on.
You bring up.
And he told me, he goes, no. He goes, you're right. We like bowling. But he goes, the PBA doesn't want to, they don't do it. It's sort of like NASCAR, guys. NASCAR years ago, Vegas told them, listen, because they went to Vegas. They said, listen, you should push the betting more and get more involved with this. And they were in the South, Cam. They were like, our fans, no, we were against betting. Now NASCAR is begging to be with sports betting companies.
Yep.
Because they realize, hell, the NFL. You know, the NFL is crazy. The NFL only got $200 million this year from sportsbooks, which is nothing. The NFL made $20 billion this year in profit. So it's one of the most, that's more than countries. So they made $20 billion in profit this year, the NFL. And all the sportsbook deals combined only add up to $200 million a year for them. That's so you ask yourself, why the hell would a company that's making $20 billion a year even care and say, we don't need to take these sportsbooks deals It helps them more than it helps us. We're already making $20 billion a year. Why do we do it? They do it, and they did it because they see a correlation. The more people bet, the higher ratings are. Point blank. In 2017 to 2018, people don't remember because it's not that long ago, but NFL ratings were down like 10 to 13%, like for the full year and then going into the next year. And that's what changed everything. They sort of realized, you know what? We better embrace this betting stuff and encourage it because it brings viewers. So it's all about ratings. So like that's why like PBA and NASCAR and stuff, you guys are dumb. It's not about like the sports book and the deal. It's about people caring about your dumb race. Because if you're flicking around, you don't care who wins the Daytona 500. It's just a bunch of dudes in cars that crashed. If you have money on it, suddenly you're watching. It's a big time difference. Yeah. And it's just point blank. And even like the NFL is the biggest sport in the world. They can boast about, oh, yeah, we had like 123 million people watching. Yeah. You also, 61 million people also bet on the game. So in other words, 50% of your audience bet on the game. Like that's all you need to know about it right there. But let's get back to Joe's NHL picks for Saturday here. So we got the Kings and Bruins, Oilers and Stars. We'll go rapid fire here, Joe. Who you taking? Oilers or Stars?
I'm going to look at the Oilers team total over 3.5.
All right. Senators and Blackhawks. Connor Bedard is back for the Blackhawks. Senators minus 185 road favorites.
I've got to look at the Blackhawks here. They dominate against the Senators. And with that plus money at home with Connor Bedard back out on the ice, they can get things done. They've won the last 10 versus the Ottawa Senators.
This next one is interesting to me. Your Calgary Flames let us all down last night, Joe. Terrible performance against the San Jose Sharks. Pathetic. Brutal. But they had been playing well. They had a 4-game win streak. They lose to the Rangers. They come back home. They lose this game. This, guys, I sort of circled this one. So you got the Flames coming off that loss. And the Red Wings played Thursday night, last night in Vancouver. And it was a pretty spirited game. Like, they were going at it. They were hitting each other. They were mouthing off and stuff. It was a pretty spirited game. And I sort of made note of this, Joe, because this is a early game tomorrow, right? So if you're the Red Wings, you're on the road. It's a quick turnaround. You're playing, basically a Saturday afternoon game here after playing Thursday night in Vancouver, going to Calgary. Not the best spot for them, but can we trust your Flames tomorrow?
That is the hugest question, right? The Calgary Flames coming out here. Remember Dustin Wolf was in net last night, and that poor kid just got absolutely peppered out there.
He got thrown to the Wolf?
He really did.
So, Jacob Markstrom will be in net tomorrow. I do think you can trust Calgary to have a nice big bounce back in this one. I think this line is going to move. So minus 128 right now. I'd get on it before they're minus 140 favorites in the morning.
Buffalo's at Minnesota. Minnesota's minus 150. Buffalo's plus 125. Florida coming off the win against Buffalo. Minus 130 against Tampa. Tampa are plus 110 home dogs. Nashville and St. Louis is basically a pick 'em. St. Louis are minus 115. Nashville are minus 105. The Leafs are big favorites against the Ducks, minus 330. The Montreal Canadiens are home dogs, plus 100 against the Caps tomorrow. Caps are minus 120. Devils minus 150, hosting the Flyers. We talked about the Canuck-Jet game. The Canes and the Knights, that's a heavyweight battle, and the Canes are on the ice right now. So advantage Vegas, hosting Carolina tomorrow at minus 125. And the Jackets and the Sharks. Wow. At the back end, that's a train wreck of a game. San Jose and Columbus. It's going for $6. What do you like, Joe, on the card tomorrow?
Absolutely loaded slate. I am looking at Vegas. I look at the Carolina Hurricanes with that quick turnaround. I think they're going to struggle, but I do think this is another game with that playoff atmosphere. I'm taking the under 6.5. I think it's really solid, but Vegas at minus 122 is a nice number. Looking at the Columbus Blue Jackets and the San Jose Sharks, the Sharks just were in Calgary coming off that win. Hurdle still won't be in the lineup, so I am going to take the Columbus Blue Jackets at minus 134. I think there is value with them. Both of these teams have been absolutely struggling, though. So it's a hard one to do. The Philadelphia Flyers and the New Jersey Devils, we've had a really solid goaltending out of the Flyers, but I do like that first period to be a higher scoring one. I'm taking the over 1.5 in the first period. I expect this to be a 4-3 style game between these two and both of these teams to come out.
It's an outdoor game.
other's
That game
nets.
is an outdoor game for everybody that doesn't know. That Devils-Flyers game's outdoors tomorrow. Then they have another one with who's the next one? There's another one. Islanders and Rangers. Islanders and Rangers are another outdoor game coming up.
That's a good point. The outdoor series, the total is 6.5 in that game. I'm going to go with the under. These normally the outdoor games play to the under. It throws players off playing outdoors. They get a little bit cautious in the corners and stuff, and it changes the dynamic of the game. So I think I'm going to be looking at the under there. It's not cold there at all, so we'll see how the ice is. It did snow, but it's all gone and stuff. I saw a picture of the field. It's all green. It's like a football field with the rink in the middle. San Jose and Columbus, I'll take the under 6.5 here. San Jose can't score. They play pretty good defense. We saw the 1-0 win for the Jets the other night. I know last night they scored 5, but I could see this game going under the number tomorrow night. Catch Joe Madden right here on the grid. Joe, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend this weekend.
Yeah, you guys too. Thanks so much. And let's make some freaking money this weekend, you guys.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, let's hope. I just lost some on the Rising Stars Challenge. So, let's hope I get it back. Thank you.
We'll get it back. Lots of action.
Yeah.
Rob Vino coming up. Talk some college basketball with Rob. This is Sports Rage.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where the Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Cam. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management.
Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in the 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, gave BC's finest.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
It is a big I told you so if Mac Jones comes back and Mayo keeps him and the Patriots don't draft a quarterback at number 3. But the fan base is a big problem. I mean, you bring back
fan base will be fine if they win.
There's the if. If they win. Fan base won't care if you're quarterback in the Patriots if they win.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Caravan came back. They did have a couple of transfers here. The reality is UConn is every bit as talented and dangerous as they were 1 year ago.
If there's a guy, Joe Ranieri, that for one game can take a bunch of cast-offs and steal a game, his name's Eric Spoelstra.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Another reason why they won at the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas? Maybe in the future, they get Luka Doncic.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early
The
line.
magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage Late
Sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Kicking it, Cam Stewart in the house. We got Tony Finn still to come. Rob Vino on the radar in a couple of minutes, we hope. NBA All-Star Weekend this weekend. The Rising Stars Challenge is done. Ben Mathurin becomes the third Canadian to win the MVP of the Rising Stars Challenge, joining Andrew Wiggins and Jamal Murray. So good company for Mathurin. This kid's going in the right direction. I guess the big question for him is whether he'll be on the Canadian Olympic team this summer. He wasn't on the World Cup team because they were kind of stacked and they wanted to go with the roster that they had. And he's young. They were worried about his defense and stuff, but he's too good he's too good not to have on the team, coming off the bench, give you some points. But the Olympics are this summer, man. That basketball tournament's going to be freaking lit, man. Like Luka Doncic, Jokic, Team USA, Canada has SGA, and the Canada are really good. Like I said, everybody's good. Like it's France are loaded, like as well, and it's in France. But it's going to be like a sick tournament, super cool. 47-38 San Diego State right now. So they're up by they're up 9. New Mexico are getting 10.5 in this game. The total is 147.5 right now. We bet the over 151 or whatever the hell it was in this game. So I'm hoping there's some points put up on the board, and hopefully New Mexico can get back in this thing, Cam. They've been down by 10 all night.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, San Diego State had I saw it up to 12, and then we got it down to around 7. But you're right, Gabe. It's been lingering. We're down 9 right now, and I see 9.5 now. It was 10.5. I'm on the Lobos with you here. We just need to get on a little bit of run and, scare San Diego State a little bit here. But, it looked good early, but they can't seem to get over that hump between 8 and 12 points. But, hey, now they're down 6, buddy. Let's go. 47-41. Let's go, Lobos.
So it was an eventful day today at the Genesis. Mm-hmm. So Tiger Woods withdraws after 24 holes today. And, okay, that was one thing. That's not shocking. But then there was an ambulance that showed up after, so people were wondering what was going on with Tiger Woods. And while that's going on, then Jordan Spieth is disqualified for filing a incorrect scorecard after the fact. And he was apologetic about it. He said he's very disappointed in himself and that they screwed up. They made a mistake, and it's never happened to him before. And it is what it is. Rules are rules. Yet at this stage, listen, golf is strange in the sense, and I said it before, I wish baseball and football was like that. But golf, you as a viewer, I don't know what the hotline number is, though. I've never known what number to call. But golf is like the only sport where somebody at home can, report a rule violation. Like, if you're watching at home, like in the old days, someone's watching at home and you see someone, move the ball, then you can, I don't know what number to call. But they know, and they call the number, and they're like, yeah, you know what? Bubba Watson was screwing around in the woods there. I was watching him. Look into it. It's kind of bizarre, but then you get into you got to hand in your scorecard. Okay, fine. It's 2024 now, Cam. And another thing, handing your own scorecard in is, we all know the damn score. You have a damn leaderboard. That's the score. Imagine asking an NBA player to keep score. The San Francisco 49er players didn't even know the rules of overtime. You think they're going to know what the score is? All the time? It's strange to me. I get it. You want to talk about this and tradition. We're not asking you to, make the golf tournament 15 holes. Yep. But at this point, asking the players to keep their own score and hand their effing scorecard in is just stupid. It's not. We're not playing at the country club here. You guys, we're pros. You guys keep score. How's that sound? You keep score for me. How's that sound?
That's what the computer does. And golf is the only sport, Gabe. You keep my score, I keep yours. You keep together both scores. You're relying on another human being too. Maybe he's having a bad day. The fact that the computers already have the scores and you're telling guys to score sign scorecards. I got in an argument with Peralta about it. It's stupid. It's 2024.
But they should abolish the rule that you have to submit your own scorecard.
By the way, they don't have that hotline anymore because too many seniors were calling in.
I know. They stopped that. That's why I said in the old days they stopped it. I know. I wish. Remember, I told you before. I was like, I got to get that number. I wish I knew the number.
Who's got the unlisted PGA line?
Because everyone said, they called it in. I'm like, well, what's the number? Like, where do you call?
What's going on here? Snitches get snitches.
I saw Phil, man. You keep your eye on him.
Now watch out for Phil. He's got 3 balls in his pocket. Yeah.
No, it's like I said, it's kind of antiquated. Like, oh, he screwed his own screw. But to me, though, if you really want to get into it, this is on the caddy then, Cam. Jordan Spieth's caddy screwed him. Because the player doesn't keep score. It's the caddy that's keeping score.
Greller's a good caddy. Actually, player does keep score. Caddy keeps score. All 4 guys in the group keep the score. But
it's true. They all do their little thing. But the caddy's it's the caddy's job, Cam, to make sure.
Worry about playing the damn and the computer will tell me what I shot. I shouldn't have to rely on somebody's math. I told Peralt that today. Not everybody went into Stanford. I got other worries about it. That's why you go to the tent and they check your work. God, golf's got to get it together. They got a lot of real stupid rules. We can get into it, but we'll do it another time. Vino's here.
Me and Rob Vino wish that the NFL and college football, Rob, that we were able to report rules violations, right, to referees and miss penalties like golf. Hey, you missed the holding on the last play. Imagine, listen, you missed an effing holding on the last play. You got to review that, huh? What's up, Rob?
How are you guys?
Good. I'm doing okay.
I'm not doing great, Rob. I got burnt tonight in the by the Rising Stars Challenge a little bit. Normally I win this stuff. Tonight I was on the wrong end of it.
Oh, I was on that Tamika side, Gabe. I don't know which side you were on, but she was the wrong side.
I had them earlier too. Yeah, it was nice that they had a 9-0 lead in the game. I was patting myself on the back. I'm like, I knew they were the right side. It was 9-0 in that game. And, you know what was worse too, Rob, was you saw it too. They had a 9-0 lead, and then they just started taking threes and playing sort of like pickup ball. And the other team was just running down the court and laying it up, running down the court, laying it in, running down the court and dunking. I was like, guys, like you realize, like you don't have this big lead anymore, right? You're about to lose. Man, that was frustrating. It is what it is. What about tomorrow? You got anything on the skills contest, like 3-point skills, whatever? You got all the different challenges. And then what about the All-Star game itself on Sunday?
Well, I didn't play anything yet in the skills, but I'll probably get involved in a 3-point shootout. I usually do, generally do. The NBA game itself on Sunday, Gabe, I don't know. I just assume let this thing rise as high as it wants to rise. I mean, 366, I've got a great mind to play it under, as much as I love overs, but 366, if it's close in the fourth, these guys do actually for 3 or 4 minutes in a close game decide to play defense, which could hold it under, and the total continues to scoot upwards. So I'm looking right now, and I guess it depends where you shop, Gabe. You get anywhere between 364.5 and 366. I see 366 at I see 366.5 in Las Vegas Superbook. Yikes!
These are so high though, these scores, that my math actually hurts my brain. I'm not that smart. I'm trying to add up. I'm like, well, 192 to 182. So yeah, looking at some of the scores in the past. So look, last year, 184 to 175 was the final score.
Under 359.
Mm-hmm. So that got us to 359. Way under the year before, 160. So it was 163 to 160. We had a 170 to 150 the year before that. 157 to 155. Sort of a common theme, actually, of that. That's sort of a common sort of like ballpark. Team LeBron 178, Team Giannis 164. One thing, LeBron wins a lot of these games, Rob. That's one thing that is true. Whatever team LeBron is on, I was looking it up earlier, so I didn't get a chance to fully like rattle off all these numbers, but I think he's 4-1 in the last 5. I think he lost. He lost last year, but he was on the wrong team. Yeah, he was. So here it is. Yeah, here it is in front of me. So your Team Giannis won before Team LeBron won. 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 Like I said, like whatever team LeBron is on generally wins. People like playing with him. They get fired up. And I'm with you, Rob. Normally I hammer these totals. This number's so high, it's scaring me off a bit. I'll play it, but not go crazy. But I did misread the Rising Stars Challenge tonight, but I think the West is going to crush these guys, Rob. Like, if you look at the lineups, bro, look at the rosters. Like, it's almost not fair. Like, the West is just way better than the East, like their all-star roster.
they just keep coming, right? Real quick, Gabe, because you got the numbers in front of you, and I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Was last year the year that Tatum won MVP and went for
sir.
I don't know, some ungodly amount?
He set the record.
So,
53 or whatever he scored. Yeah.
Right. So I won't come back with Tatum as MVP. We'll choose one of these Western guys. He ain't winning twice in a row, Cam. No way.
No way.
It's come down. So I'm seeing 364.5 right now. West is -2.5, -135 on the money line. Let's get people the MVP numbers. All right, NBA All-Star, MVP, NBA All-Star, game MVP. Giannis is 6-1. LeBron is 7-1. Tatum is 8-1. Curry's 8-1. Halliburton is 8-1. Hometown kid. Edwards is 10-1. Lillard's 10-1. Durant's 10-1. Luka's 10-1. Interesting. Here's a guy here. SGA 12-1.
Nice.
Does SGA go off and drop 20? It's like Devin Booker's 14-1. Nobody likes Devin Booker. They're not going to pass him the ball. Donovan Mitchell 20-1. Jalen Brunson 33-1. The West are going to kill these guys.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where these Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Cam. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management.
Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in the 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, gave BC's finest.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
It is a big I told you so if Mac Jones comes back and Mayo keeps him and the Patriots don't draft a quarterback at number 3. But the fan base is a big problem. I mean, you bring back
fan base will be fine if they win.
There's the if. If they win, fan base won't care if you're quarterback in the Patriots if they win.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Caravan came back. They did have a couple of transfers here. The reality is UConn is every bit as talented and dangerous as they were 1 year ago.
If there's a guy, Joe Ranieri, that for one game could take a bunch of cast-offs and steal a game, his name's Eric Spoelstra.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas, maybe in the future, to get Luka Doncic?
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage Late
sort
Night.
of has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Morency. We're kicking it. Rob Vino in the house with us. So let me just rattle off. We'll get to Rob's college basketball thoughts. Can't wait to talk UFL football with him. But if you look at the starting lineups, here for the All-Star game, all right, they're kind of, you say, all right, it's competitive. You've got Giannis, Luka, Bam Adebayo, Kevin Durant. So because Embiid's out. So this is the Eastern Conference starters. Giannis, Bam Adebayo, Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard, and Jason Tatum. The West starters are LeBron, Luka, Kevin Durant, SGA, and Nikola Jokic. So just right away, it's like, whoa, all right, the West starting five is lethal. Then you get into the bench, man. The Eastern Conference bench: Paulo Banchero, Scotty Barnes, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey, Donovan Mitchell, Julius Randle, and Trae Young. Solid. Okay, let's look at the Western bench. Devin Booker, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah,
give me the West, Rob. Give me the West, minus 130 money line.
I mean, the height difference on that bench you just read off is crazy, too. Oh, my God.
Bro, they're going to roll off Kawhi and Paul George together as the second unit.
With Steph. That's crazy.
Steph Curry hitting threes, yeah. And Devin Booker. That's their second unit.
Oh,
it might be their second unit, might be better than their starting unit, but even their starting unit's sick. Like Jokic, LeBron, SGA, Durant, LeBron, and Luka. I can't believe they're only minus 2.5 point favorites.
Yeah, we might have to take a short break here and just open up some action.
I told you,
short break here.
That's why me, Rob, I'm like, screw the total this year. I'm putting a couple of dimes on the West. I'll live with the results. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Holy cow. Yeah, that's stacked. Oh, my God, that's stacked.
Damn right. This is a great team they have, man. All right, so college basketball tomorrow. What do you like, Rob? What catches your eye tomorrow?
Well, and we're getting closer, right, Gabe? I did a segment about a day ago and realized that if you're in a low major conference, like the Southern Conference, just for instance, after tomorrow, 4 games left, and then your conference tournament starts. I mean, Super Bowl just ended, and we're right there at the doorstep of conference tournaments. It's nuts. There's a lot of good stuff out there. Tomorrow, I had a couple of things circled for the show. I thought that Houston at home against Texas. I just recall the first game. Houston had come from BYU. It was actually their first Saturday to Monday stint because that's how the Big 12 schedules. And when they were in the AAC, they never played a Saturday, Monday. So it was a big deal because they were coming from Provo into Austin. That game went overtime, and Houston still hung on and won in that game. And Houston first half, it's been a thing for a couple of years now. I just feel like they're going to get to Texas early. So I kind of like that one first half out of the big games. I'm just going.
What do you think of the over there? Let me just, as far as the Texas-Houston game, because I bet the over the last time they played, and I remember off the top of my head, it was 130 and a half or whatnot, and they went to overtime tied at 65, didn't they? So they came back with the same number, Rob, at 131 this time. What do you think about the total? Do we get there?
If you think that, you know what? Because I played it as well, Gabe, and I remember thinking as long as they got the 65 all, I was good. It didn't really matter, and that's how it ended up. Yeah, I think I would go over again, 131 and a half. Although those games get tricky because once they see you for the second time in conference play, it does tighten up a little bit, and now Houston knows Texas a little better. So maybe I'd be more inclined to play Houston in the first half than I would full game total, just thinking that their defense is good enough without already knowing the team's, the team's playbook. So maybe I'd be a little cautious there, but I wouldn't play it under. I'll say that. I wouldn't play it under.
All right, so what else do you got circled?
I think Creighton Butler probably gets over. Gabe, Butler at home is just an offensive force. They don't like to play a lot of defense. Creighton shoots it. Looking at the total, I think I saw 150 and a half. I don't see the current here, 150 and a half or 151. But I think that's a really high-scoring game. We like to play these overs. It's interesting with this Florida-Georgia game, too, because it just seems like Florida wants to play every game, 80, 85, right in that territory. They get Georgia here. That number was a little steep. I have a little question mark on this sheet here on that game, 157 potentially going up and over. Just a small conference team, Gabe, and I just talked about it, out of the Southern Conference. And I'm going to use this in the tourney when it gets there as well. Their tourney, the big tourney, that Samford team out of the Southern Conference is a beast.
Yeah.
10 guys in that rotation. They run like crazy. Nobody can keep up with them. They play Mercer tomorrow. I'll probably take a little look at them. You have to think North Carolina is bouncing back. That was another one I checked. I mean, ever since Armando Bacot opened his mouth and said the ACC runs through me the night they beat Duke, they lost 2 games out of 3, right? Yeah. So I think they bounced back at home against Virginia Tech. That one, I want to say I would play it over, but I think I want to play Carolina first and then maybe over with it. What are you guys looking at here that you see that you like?
For the record, I brought up that Butler game earlier as far as how efficient they are offensively, and they already played this year. But I'm glad it's funny you brought up Samford, because I got to tell you what, every year there's always a coach that cashes in and moves on after, and Bucky McMillan is very hot right now. This guy won 5 high school state championships, got a chance to coach at college, and you see what he's doing right now, playing that up-tempo basketball, Rob.
Yeah. And he's got just a ton of guys. I mean, it's not like they only have 2 or 3 guys. They got 8 guys that all shoot from anywhere and score. It's a really good team. And another one, real quick, now that you mentioned coaching, Gabe, when Ryan Odom came from Utah State to VCU to start the season, it didn't look like VCU was adjusting to him. Wow. I mean, I had VCU tonight -5. They win by 10 in St. Louis. But VCU is playing as good as anybody in a mid-major conference. So it's not Shaka Smart Havoc defense. But, boy, it's really, really good perimeter defense. Win by 10 tonight, so maybe VCU is worth a look. Just checking some of these numbers here. Marquette and Connecticut, guys, I mean, I can't play against UConn in any way, shape, or form at this place and at this spot in time. They 77. They beat Marquette pretty good the first time around. I would think that game gets over, even though UConn's known a little bit defensive, but boy, they're scoring like crazy. Talk about efficiency, Gabe. Connecticut is that. So maybe I'll look UConn Marquette over, like the UConn side. That's a lot of the daytime stuff, or at least
I'm looking at the last game of the night here at the back end.
Yeah, let's look.
Nevada and UNLV. Ooh. And UNLV have been an erratic team this year. They were underachievers earlier in the year. They lost, it's 19-point favorites. They lost as 12-point favorites. People kind of gave up on them, and they've just started to put it together. They're winning basketball games on the road. They're winning at home. They smashed Wyoming last week when we were there. They go on the road. They beat Fresno. It was close. Fresno got the cover, but nevertheless, UNLV got the outright win. They're lingering right now in the Mountain West as far as to win the Mountain West. I don't think they will in the end. But they're playing their best basketball that they played. And here we go. Fremont Cannon on the line, Mr. Vino.
Yeah, and in their gym, right? Because the Mountain West home gyms, for the most part, have been pretty strong. But what a conference, right? I mean, give me the separation, the amount of separation between like 1 through 8 in that league. I mean, I'm looking up here at the monitor.
How many teams get in
Mexico
right now?
And San Diego
they got a million,
State.
right? They're on fire, like Colorado State. It's good. The Mountain West is great, Gabe. It's nice to see these guys doing well. They've been like the Pac-12 in football. They've been great. It's nice.
They'll cannibalize each other, though, before it's done. Right. So, but it is very competitive. It's better than football. 50, and speaking of which, it's 58-51 right now for San Diego State. And, Rob, I got the over this game. This has not been on pace, but it's starting to be right now. The in-game total, guys, is 154.5. New Mexico down by 7. They're getting 7.5. There's 10 minutes left, so there's a lot of basketball left. And this is something, guys, that we talk about all the time, fouls, about in-game betting. So what do you think, Rob? The total is 154.5 right now. They've scored 109 points. Both teams are already into the bonus with 10 minutes left.
Yeah, I'm looking right at it. And you know what? If you have this kind of separation the rest of the way, Gabe, 5-6 points, when you get to that minute mark, you're going to get nothing but fouls and speedy baskets if it's New Mexico chasing. So I'd probably look way more over than under at this point in time. It's kind of, and there's a bucket right there now. It's 111, 58, 53. So
I just
there
bet
is
it
a lot of
156.5. I just bet it.
From the Lobos. Let's go.
Hoping for the best. Let's go.
I got to ask you guys, too. We've been fading Kansas, Gabe and Rob, and we took them against, forget the game on the road. Texas Tech murdered them. K-State beat them in overtime. Do we come to Oklahoma getting 1.5, 2 in this spot? Like, or is Kansas going to figure it out? These guys are just they're a bad road team. I don't care what anybody says. And almost you look at the line and go, seems like the Jayhawks. I don't know about that. I might take a shot with Oklahoma.
Yeah, I could not talk you off, Cam. I mean, again, I think we talked about the Kansas team, right, Gabe, where it's kind of it's so top heavy. If it's not Dickinson and McCullough had been out for a couple, right? McCullough was hurt. Actually.
He missed the last game. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you have to have him because they just don't have enough guys. It's not a normal KU
They don't
team.
shoot the three well. They used to have multiple shooters. They don't have multiple shooters. They don't really have playmakers. And watching Michigan, nothing against Dickinson, but you're kind of screwed if he's your best guy. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like,
and
it's hard to describe that. It's like, he like other teams sort of look at it. It's like, yeah, whatever, dude. Let him score his 19 points. Fine. It's like antiquated basketball with him on the court.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. And on a team like that, he shouldn't be the best guy on that roster. To tell you the truth, he should be second or third.
I thought he was sort of going to be just sort of added on. Like, okay, he'll score 12 a night. He won't be the focal point. It's almost like he's become that guy. And he's not that guy, guys, with a minute left in the game. Like, you know what I mean? He turns the ball over a lot in the paint. He doesn't handle the ball well with his hands. I used to wonder why NBA scouts didn't like him. And now I know why. I'm like, he can't play in the NBA. Like, he won't play in the NBA. I'm not saying, maybe he'll be in a G League and he'll hang around or whatnot. But, like, he's not an NBA prospect. Even though he scores 20 points a night. They're just inconsistent, this Kansas team. If you had to say who's going to win the championship, it's kind of chalky, Rob, but it feels like it's Purdue, UConn, or Houston.
It really does. And you know what? I'll scratch Purdue right now because there's no way you're getting me to play Matt Painter to win 6 in a row.
No
shot.
You'd rather paint your house. You're not doing it.
He will find a way to mess this thing up. And that's
what about the Virginia correlation? What about the correlation about Virginia losing, getting knocked out in the first round, and then ended up winning the championship the next year? What about that for Purdue?
Yeah, you know what? That's what that time of year is meant for, right? That what's the name of that song that they play at the end for the winner? Yeah, it's made for those types of stories. But in all seriousness,
is it I Can Believe I Can Fly?
I can believe I can fly. That's so cheesy.
No, it's not that. I Believe I Can Fly. No, that's not. That's the guy that has sexy
moment. One shining moment. One shining moment.
That's so cheesy now, too. 2024. That come on. So cheesy. We'll wrap up with Rob on the other side. Jim Nance. Remember Jim Nance was crying like.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where the Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Cam. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management.
Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, gave BC's finest.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
It is a big I told you so if Mac Jones comes back and Mayo keeps him and the Patriots don't draft a quarterback at number 3. But the fan base is a big problem. I mean, you bring back
fan base will be fine if they win.
There's the if. If they win. Fan base won't care if you're quarterback in the Patriots if they win.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Caravan came back. They did have a couple of transfers here. The reality is UConn is every bit as talented and dangerous as they were 1 year ago.
If there's a guy, Joe Ranieri, that for one game can take a bunch of cast-offs and steal a game, his name's Eric Spoelstra.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas, maybe in the future, to get Luka Doncic?
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early
The
line.
magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live. Prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage
This
late
sort of
night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Me and Rob Vito are so nuts and hardcore. We're both excited and wondering about how Matt Corral, former Ole Miss quarterback, is going to do with the Birmingham Stallions in the United Football League. Rob, I'm already doing a lot of draft stuff on the show. I've done like 3 draft segments this week with different people. I love it. I love handicapping it, carrying over and stuff. And a lot of odds out already. What's your draft bet portfolio going to be?
Well, you have to... And get free agency means so much to it, right, Gabe? Like these teams all have needs, but they can pick up in free agency before the draft. So then you kind of slot those needs backwards. But I would think, honestly, I think Caleb Williams is the number 1 pick. Whether he wants to go to Chicago or not, I don't think he can force his way out of there. I think they'll probably make that pick. From there, kind of a crapshoot. I mean, everything you read, and you read a lot, Drake May up, Drake May down, Drake May up, Jaden Daniels ahead of Drake May. So the quarterbacks are going to get there in those first 4. Marvin Harrison Jr. probably slides in there somewhere as well. And then it's kind of wild. I do a bunch of these mock drafts. There's a mock draft simulator on PFF, and my son and I do a couple every night. I draft as the Broncos. That's my team. He drafts as the Seahawks. That's his team. And,
Did you take J.J. McCarthy?
You know what? Every time it gets to Denver, I draft Dallas Turner from Alabama.
Okay,
yeah. Because
they have him going to Seattle in a lot of mocks there, Rob. Turner, because they need a rush end. Like, he's good, man. Real good.
Yeah. And the other day, we were doing one, and Brock Bowers actually fell to 16 in Seattle. So it's going to be that kind of crazy, right, Gabe? Because there's going to be a lot of teams. And Sean Payton has already said he's getting his quarterback. He's going to trade up. So I don't know what he's got to trade, but it's going to be a little crazy.
Here's thinking outside the box, just in case the Bears do something strange. Let's say the Bears hypothetically decide to trade the pick. The Commanders blowed him away. Caleb Williams wants to be with Kingsbury. He's from D.C.
Yep.
Commanders say, listen, we got a second pick. Let's make this work. Then they take Marvin Harrison with the second overall pick at plus 1,200. Harrison's plus like 1,200 to be the second pick right now. If that trade happens, that happens.
I like it.